Let's get some trader talk now with pro trader Tim Biggam of Delta Derivatives. And Tim, the jobs report is coming out at the end of the week. Will that be a big event for the market?
I think, it may have an impact on how they perceive the Fed acting going forward. Certainly the rally in stocks, especially the Nasdaq names, has been predicated on the fact that the Fed is going to pause sooner than later. At least the market thinks so. So I think a red hot job number may give that a little bit of a challenge here. So I think it may be a fairly important number, but I think the Fed at the end of the day probably a couple more rate hikes, and will then be looking to see the effect on the economy. But overall, I think the market generally, and certainly the Nasdaq, the triple Q, is probably a little extended here. I'm a little bit more cautious on those names going forward.
The last time you were here, Tim, you talked up buying big tech. What's the trading plan now?
Yeah, looking at it, I would probably just use the big rally we've seen. We're up against that overhead resistance on the Qs at 320. So I'd sell some out of them when I call spreads here, define my risk, not necessarily be an aggressive seller here, but looking to position to be a seller on the next leg higher. Angie, I think any further rally from here, given the magnitude of what we've seen, may be difficult.
Are you spotting any stocks with some unusual options action this week?
Yeah, we're seeing some big call buying in WBD, Warner Brothers Discovery, in the August 12 calls. Over 20,000 traded versus less than 1,000 open interest. We have earnings coming towards the end of the week. So I'm just leaning with the fact these big buyers drove the price of these options to extreme. I'm buying the stock, following along bullishly with the big buyers, also selling these calls to hedge. So trying to take advantage, they had to overpay, but all the while leaning slightly bullishly with the fact they may know something about the earnings.
Thank you for your trade, Tim.
You bet. Anytime.
Go to businessfirstam.com for where to see our show on TV.